All right, here we go. Chapters 2 and 3 of The Power of Layered Leadership by Bob Goshen. Yeah. Rock it out. Okay. So here we go. We're just going to dive right in. So this chapter was all about duplicating leaders. This is really, really a good one. Let me just make sure. Oh, no. It was creating a leadership, you guys. Creating a leadership environment, chapter 2. People move products. Products do not move people. So you must get the people right. I already underlined a few things on the first page. Success comes at a much greater rate when you understand the principle of all of your success is based on those you lead. Sure, you can offer a great product and have a great idea, but if you do not know how to orchestrate your leadership to perform, all is in vain. So that was really a huge aha moment for me. Anybody have anything with that? Otherwise, we'll go right on to the next page, 42. Nobody has anything to say about that. Okay, let's dive right into page 42 then. Because, so what I wrote on the side, like again and again, is focus on people, focus on people, focus on people, focus on the person, focus on the person, focus on the person. That's like, I have it all written down the side. And he talked about the NFL and his high school, and they like didn't play well, but then they got into the NFL and all of a sudden they were like star players. And he's like, what's going on? Well, the missing piece was the coach was too much focused on the plays, not on the player. So when he got into NFL, the coaches focused way more on the players, getting them to believe they were capable of executing the plays developed by the coaches. The emphasis was on the person rather than the plays. Anybody have anything to say about that? Hey, Tessie, Chica, it's good to see you. You gotta pay attention to who all pops on here. Focus on the people. Focus on the people.
I know. Okay. I had that written down too. Focus on the people, not the profit. And I underlined that and wrote a lot of notes about that. So same takeaway.
That's good. And how many times have we heard Cammie say, when you get the people right, you'll get your business right? We've heard her say that. We've also heard her say, people don't buy product, they buy people. People buy people, not product. I heard that over and over again too. So I'm like,
go ahead. In my like past experience, like when I first started, like I didn't want to build a team. Like that was not like, I was scared of that. I didn't want that. I just wanted to help people. And so I was really good at like getting loyal customers. And that's what I did because I just wanted to help the people. And that's what I was most successful in my business. And then as you know, It Works Global in general is trying to grow, we're trying to get our team to grow, you kind of like, for me, just speaking for myself, like you kind of stop thinking about people and you just wanted people, but you weren't really thinking about them because you wanted to like expand and grow. And then that's when my business went boop, like that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, this is like, I feel like it's a fresh start, you know, and it is about people. Like I'm just focusing, like one thing cool is like I'm diamond and I'll never lose that. And so like now I'm just going to work with the people under my organization, like my loyals, like my plan or whatever is to work with those people, you know, and reach out with all the people that are under the distributors that quit and, you know, just focusing on the people, you know. Mm-hmm. That's my plan.
Yeah, John and I just had a conversation. There's a gal here that just messaged underneath our, Becky's doing a, you know, you guys all know about that, like the end of the year, last week, whatever, event. And she said, I'm in, you know, you sold me. And then I private messaged her and said, what do you mean? And she goes, I'm ready to become a distributor. And so then I was talking to John about that. And I'm like, well, she already sells candles. Like she was already here for my holiday sip and shop. She was one of the 7 that were here for our big event here. And like John said, you know, we're just going to really talk to her about like, why do you want to join the business? Like why do you not want to become a customer? And why do you want to become a distributor? Like just the way that we're doing things is a lot different than what we did before because we just kind of let anyone and anything happen. And we realized that, down the road, it's like, maybe that person really wasn't fit to be a distributor. And they would have been a great, loyal customer. So we're focusing again on the people, like they're talking about, and not so much they called it the bottom. What was it called? The bottom. What did they call it? They called it. He said it many times. The bottom dollar, not the bottom dollar, but the bottom. What's it called?
The profit. The bottom line. The profit.
Yeah, the bottom line. So instead of worrying so much about that, but really, really kind of interviewing people, and we've always said that. But we just said, I'm not going to just bring on another person to say, hey, got another distributor on. Like they really need to want to make money here. They really need to want to, not only use the product, but also need to make money, not just want to be on just for the fun. But I mean, they can have the fun too. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It kind of sounded a little bit, you know what I mean? Any last thoughts about that? Otherwise we can go into no one can perform beyond the way he sees himself. This is so good too.
I highlighted this first sentence, that second paragraph that just said your endless endeavor as a leader is to continually build the self-esteem of those you lead. And once again, I'm thinking this is going to be the year of making me over, I guess, because I know many of you, like that other Nate said, I need more confidence in myself. And I think too lowly of myself. So before I can teach others how to do that, I have to believe in myself.
That's a really good one. What'd he say? I have so many things underlined. And then he said also with that, you have to continually create an environment that allows for optimal growth with your team. So then I was thinking, man, I gotta do better about that. I think we have a great Divine Alliance where you guys as leaders are coming together and rotating and getting a chance to shine and to lead. And I think we do a pretty good job, okay, let's, coming up with the new, whatever. We've done so many different things over the years and trying to put people in positions to take a piece of, like Kim always says, the pie to make things work. I think that we've done a pretty decent job, but I think that I could do a better job at pulling people out more. You know what I mean? Pulling people out and giving them specific things to do. And we all need to think about our leaders as we have team on, specific things to do, or as you bring team on, give each person a job, give each person a little bit of ownership in the team, because when you don't have any, then a lot of people just kind of say, well, I just have nothing to stay here for. I'm not really needed. You know what I mean? Or valued, So I thought that was really good. And I love how he dove right into the different the airlines, Southwest Airlines and Marriott, the Marriott hotels. And why are they so good? And why are they number one? Well, they reinforce, the Southwest Airlines reinforces daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. Do not hesitate to credit their success to the performance of their people. And then it says, the second company is the Marriott. It wouldn't take long to realize that he places all of his success in his people. He has created such a trust with his employees that they're willing to do almost anything to assist Mr. Marriott to succeed. He has a very open policy with his employees. He's created a 24-hour hotline, so any employee who has a personal or financial challenge can receive immediate help. Mr. Marriott believes if he can assist his employees at their point of need, they will make better employees by not bringing those challenges to work, thus focusing on the needs of their hotel guests. And I don't know if you guys underline, but I definitely need to get the book, The Spirit to Serve. Did you guys underline that? But he did say maybe can't even locate a copy. So I got to call him. I got to call Bob. It said, contact me. He has some on hand. So I got to definitely see what that Spirit to Serve is all about.
I like, Liz, how he talked about that. He really takes the time to connect with everyone on their personal levels even. So he really is that servant leader, take time to serve people. So, and really pour into all the team. And, that kind of stood out pretty much to me.
And didn't you love how he said because they'll say, well, how do you know? Like, how do you know what leaders you should be putting as your general managers and those kinds of things? Do you remember what he said? Like, he would come back and he would actually meet with the general manager, and in the way he would really know if that person was doing a good job with PR, with, keep carrying on his, his keeping the people first, is he'd walk around with the general manager, and if he would watch the eye connection of like the housekeeping section, the front desk people, anybody that was working employee wise, and if there was a good connection and they'd be like, hey, how you doing, like a really good spirit, then he knew that person was a very good fit and was carrying on that message for him. But if there was any like hesitancy, like he would just like maybe not happy to see the person, or just not,
Not
wanting
smiling or anything like that. Yeah. No,
then he would know this was not a good fit for that person. So I thought that was really good. And he would sit down with them. He would actually sit down with them, because he went to, what was it? What part I forget. He said, sit down and listen to their needs. What do you know about them personally? Are they married or single? Do they have children or grandchildren? What role do they play in your organization? He'd often drop into the hotels. He'd always start with their families, then their jobs. So I loved that. Okay, what about going on to page 45 and beyond? Anybody have anything to say about any of that?
I highlighted, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help enough other people to get what they want. So, and that just goes back to helping people.
Zig Ziglar, right? Isn't that a Zig Ziglar?
Yep. And I think Ashley Sinclair said something like that too on her party last night. And I was like, that's just.
I was just going to say that, Lexi. I was like, she was talking about that too. I picked up a lot on that with this book, and actually some others that I've read, is help people, serve people, help people. And then I heard her say that, and I was like, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a heck of a lot better than I am. There must be something to that.
Well, and then how about John Maxwell's people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Mm-hmm.
How many times you heard that? Same concept, really. And then we've read The Go-Giver. Some of you guys have read The Go-Giver. What's that all about? It's all about giving beyond. So they say that often what you have in your life is a reflection of how much you've given to others. And that was a real aha moment for me. Like, you need to give beyond, and you will have, a life full of love because of how much you've cared for so many. You know what I mean?
I think personally, I tend to struggle with that. Like, I do care about people and I want to get to know people, but it can be draining too. You know what I mean? Like, so I find it hard to find like the balance, because like for me, one of the areas that I can't give in is financially. Like I can't do that. And it, not that I don't want to, I just can't, and so like I end up struggling with like what, helping people, serving people, like what does that exactly mean? Like how do I determine what I'm doing is not necessarily beneficial, but like making an impact where it's not like, like if you just hold doors for people or something like that, like that's not going to come back and really, circle around to like benefit you in the long run versus, because that's not showing. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, I think every little, as small as it is that you can do, will not go unnoticed. It can mean the biggest thing for somebody and you won't even know it. And I feel like I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I feel like I can't give a lot financially. And I'll do little things. Like if I'm at the cash register and then it'll come up, would you like to donate $1, $5 or whatever to, like, say Toys for Tots? Well, I can do $1 or, round that up to, the next one. And it's just, I really think just don't be so hard on yourself, because I feel like every little thing is not little. You know, it's a big thing, as much as you can do. And even like giving your time to people if you don't have financial. And sometimes I even struggle with that, you know, like doing something in the church. I really should do that. You know, I have some more time, but I really think you probably can make a big, huge difference in somebody's day by just one little small thing, and you don't even notice it. So,
Well, and I do agree. I just, like, especially like you were saying with giving time, it's like, okay, well, I could easily, donate a lot of my time to help other people, but then I'm not spending that time to grow my business. And then I get down on myself because I'm not growing my business because I'm spending my time helping other people. And it's not that I want to look at what the outcome is going to be for me, but I also see, where I'm standing right now. And I'm like, if things don't change, what am I going to do? I have to make a choice at some point and saying, finding that fine line of, okay, I just feel like I have so much on my plate. I'm feeling extremely overwhelmed.
Well, this is what I would say, Sarah. I would say it can be as simple as edifying people. Like it can be as simple as going on somebody's wall or private messaging them and saying, you know what, you inspire me. Like you really inspire me, or just popping on people's pages and just saying, things that they do that really truly, like, you're a great mom, like your ideas that you put on Facebook really touch me, like genuine comments to people. Because we've read too that people love recognition. They love to be recognized. They love to feel appreciated. They love to know that they're making an impact and a difference. That's a simple thing, and that's genuine. To write a person a card, to drop a person a sweet message, to, like we just, with our neighbors here, we just gave everybody baked goods. We gave everybody a bag full of baked goods. And our neighborhood has said, like, oh my goodness, like we didn't do anything as a neighborhood. And now, like, we're all hanging out together, and our neighbor is like the nicest. They are the nicest people. And so it's just that little bit of spark of just being that connector, and that person who's like, I'm just going to do a little extra something for people without thinking about, I give to receive. Don't ever think about that. I give because of what God has done for you. That's why I give. It's a fruit of what God has done for me. And so if you just look for little ways and just a nice comment and taking a few extra seconds to say hi to your neighbor, how are things going? Or I know our neighbor had surgery, so I message her every so often to see how he's doing. We brought a meal over to him, made a little extra, than what we were making, ourselves. That's what I would say. Just, it doesn't have to be monetary at all. It can just be as simple as just caring and a simple message. That makes such a difference. It really does. It's a great conversation. Who else has things that you want to say? And Kim was really one that said, Liz, when you're out there, you're building all your relationships, with all these people, because we're starting brand new, fresh. I mean, came out here and knew no one. So, she just said, just genuinely love people and don't expect anything in return. And when you have that perspective, you really are doing it out of the bottom of your heart, because you really love people. And that's what we do in this business. We are relationship building people. We don't have time to not create relationships. This is networking. You know what I mean? So, like, if you really want to have impactful life, you got to be impactful, if that makes sense. So simple things like that. Nothing life-changing or earth-shattering, just simple things.
Back on 44, I highlighted performance is based on self-esteem. Those we are leading struggle each day based on their past current failures. They do not feel confident due to this baggage, a past divorce, financial failure, family challenges with children or mate, or physical challenges. And I think about that all the time, because there's so many times, like, I feel like a failure, and like life, yes, has gotten a lot easier for me, but still not easy. And like money right now is really, really tight for us. I would never, ever recommend building a house and getting married in the same year. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. But like, that's how like I can give back, is like what you're saying, Liz, is like messaging people or recognizing, you know, that you do. Like for instance, there's a girl I went to high school with, and we were never really friends, but she's younger than I am, and she is a stepmom to a child with autism. And she is like the greatest mom on like, just like I'll private message her and just be like, oh my gosh, like you inspire me, like you are such a great mom, and like whatever. But just like little things like that. And I guess like I have gone away from that because I really have no excuses now, because I have the internet. My house is in an area where I don't like can talk on the phone or be connected to the internet and like not get disconnected 1,000 times. So like now I'm just like slowly trying to make those comments, kind of like totally opposite, kind of not really, but yes. Okay, I'm all over the place. But did you guys look at your Facebook stories like over the year? You know, Facebook made those things, and it tells you how many things you liked during the year. Isn't that crazy? Like I liked almost 7,000 things. I'm like, I don't even realize that I go and I like that many things. But it's like now I can take that next step and like leave a comment or private message them, you know, other than just liking them. I'm finding myself doing a lot of loves too lately, but
Did you happen to look at anyone else's to see like what an average
I looked at
person?
I looked at one other person's, and they had like 400 likes, and I'm like, okay, either they really don't like anything, or I'm like an overachiever. But I thought 7,000 was a lot.
No,
Like,
Lexi.
was 6,000 something, but
Lexi, I had 17,000.
holy crap, I was slacking.
But Steph Francis
Yeah.
had like 73,000.
Well, she's over the top.
It was like, yeah, it was like 70. It was like, it was a lot.
A lot.
And I sat down with my 17,000 because I told myself, it was kind of a wake up to me. Like, on the one hand, I don't just hit likes just to hit likes.
Right. Yep, same here.
But yet, that said to me, I do need to do something more. I mean, and half the time I don't have time. You don't have the time. Like,
Yep.
and maybe on my lunch break, but that averaged out to like 50 some likes a day.
Wowzer.
I didn't even remember doing like you said,
Isn't that
like
crazy?
I like 50 things a day. I don't even.
You guys are so green.
I love that.
Any of that. I didn't look at any of that. I'm like, what are people talking about?
Which is so funny because I
Yeah.
don't think of myself
is
as
that?
green.
Because-
I do not care about details.
I'm green, and I guess I didn't know where
There.
that is.
I'll show
No.
you.
So Facebook, like, is like within the last couple weeks, it will pop up on your notifications. Like, look at your past year from Facebook, and it's like pictures, and typically the most pictures are the pictures that got the most likes and whatever. And then at the very end, it says you liked 7,000 things, posts or whatever.
Oh, I think I deleted this is how nerdy I am. I took a screenshot of it because I was going to write a blog off of it, because I thought, A, this is pathetic, or, you know, pathetic, like, is this what we've come to on social? I mean, it's neat how you can connect with people. Be it was, am I truly connecting, or am I just like, I like your cake, I like your kid, I like your dog, I like your, you know, or should I? But realistically, for all those likes, I didn't have time to sit and write an actual comment for every single one, you know. So then it's like, do I now just make a conscientious effort of the things that are really good, that I will take the time and make that connection? You know what I mean?
I was going to say, this is such a great conversation because, you know, this book was written a while back ago. And so it probably wasn't during the Facebook times, you know what I mean? And today, as ridiculous as it is, Facebook is, those liking and commenting is relationship building.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? So Sarah, when you're saying, Sarah Stoddard, when you're saying, well, I can't afford to, well, your relationship building is in the commenting underneath people's things. So like when you said, Sarah Zart, should I be going through and liking? I think you should do less and be more quality with the less that you do than saying, I got to go through and like all these people. Rather, take the time to say something and connect with people on Facebook. Take the time, because remember, we are in networking. You don't grow your business by not being a relationship builder. You only grow your business by being a caring, loving individual.
And that's why, and the goal,
Right.
when Jesse and I sat down and we're talking about our goals and our like how our family is going to schedule things now. And that's one thing I knew I need to do is do more of that. If I'm going to grow or get to know people, I have to dedicate, so like for instance, now in the morning, I either work out at 5:15 or that's personal time. And, so that will, and I have my whole like Wednesday night blocked off, and that will just be more like, that kind of stuff. In the past, it was I have a lot of other stuff. Other It Works things I want to be doing too, but that's one of my personal goals.
It's awesome. And so this has been a real great eye opener for me. Like, we picked up and we moved down to a completely new area. So, I have to completely slow down and relationship build. Like, when I'm invited to something, I got to go to it. No matter if I think I need to really be home doing this or doing that. Nope. I need to be relationship building. That means truly connecting with as many people as possible in relationship building. Always. When you think you don't have time for it, yes, you do. Like Jim Rohn, he said his parents, their biggest piece of advice for Jim Rohn was the most successful network marketing guy in Amway or whatever it was. Or was it Shackley? I forget. But anyways, his parents, he said to the day they died, they would go to everything they were invited to. Everything. Their relationship building, always. They never missed anything. So we have to think of that. Like, you have to think of your missing opportunities sometimes. I mean, you can't go to everything, but never say to yourself, I think I better stay home and message people over someone who invited you down the block that said, come over and let's have Christmas, have a Christmas gathering. Does that make sense? Yeah. Go to that. That's networking. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so give yourself permission to slow down and go to events and have them yourself. I've got to see that firsthand down here, how that is absolutely, people aren't going to just jump in and become a loyal customer with me when they don't know anything about me. Does that make sense? They're not going to do that. I have to take the time to get to know them, relationship build with them. And then it takes time. And then they're like, I want to be a customer with you. I've been watching you. I'm building rapport with you. Now I see you on Facebook. I've been physically with you. I know you're a person, So you have to give yourself permission to be a real person, to be a real relationship building person. So this is really good conversation. And especially, with social media. Social media today is take the time to have the conversation. Take the time to totally find out about the person. Take the time to say, hey, how's your son doing? Take the time to sing happy birthday to people. I do that for all my happy birthday people. I actually sing a voice message, happy birthday to them. Every single one. And there's one girl that says, oh my gosh, nobody's ever sung happy birthday to me over a Facebook thing, like over a private message. But we got to be those people. We got to be ones.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? Awesome. Okay.
Can I share a tip so my dad runs his own carpet cleaning business in New Ulm. And there's something that he's actually been doing the last couple of years. For every job that he does, he when he delivers their bill, I think he gives the woman a yellow rose because that's the color of the van, like that's their signature color, whatever. And so we always joke because he does this for all these women, but he won't give my mom flowers. But anyhow, it's something that he was just telling me today, how he had done a job for a lady a couple years back, and she called up and said, are you the company that gives the yellow rose? And he's like, yeah, we are. She's like, oh, thank goodness, you're the person I want back. So it really does make a difference. And that's something so simple. I mean, it's a rose. It spends, I don't know, a couple $100 a year, but it's well worth it. So, so we were talking about ideas of what set us apart, that is authentic according to us. So same concept.
I love it. There you go. There you go. Simple something like that. That's just awesome. And you write your Sarah Stoddard, you're writing your handwritten thank you cards to your loyal customers. That all takes time, but that is all time we have to take. We have to take to retain our customers and show them that we love them and we're very appreciative for them. Okay, so then it says, the message is simple. Help people become better. Here we go. Help people become better by helping them feel better about themselves. That's the bottom of 45. So is that not messaging people? Is that not delivering a rose? Is that not encouraging someone, inspiring someone on their wall? I mean, edify, edify, edify. We hear it all the time. Always be edifying. And it's crazy. When you get into that, it may not feel natural in the beginning, but as you do it again and again, all of a sudden it becomes a natural thing that you do because you've trained yourself to always be uplifting and inspiring and calling out people's gifts. I think we read somewhere along the way that somebody said within the first 5 seconds of greeting someone, you should right away give them a compliment. Love your earrings. Love your boots. Look how cute your hair is. Oh my gosh. So great to see you. The party can begin. You're now here. I know we've read it along the way. People feel like in the dumps all the time. I think we all know that. You cannot be encouraged enough,
I got like you, Liz, I only moved an hour away, but I'm building relationships with people. I know nobody. And at first I'm like, oh, this would be so awesome with my business, like a whole new area. And then it's like nothing. And so October 31st, I applied for a job at the tanning salon in Hutchinson in the mall. And I was kind of like, because I work from home now, and I'm like, okay, I need to get out. I need to meet people. Like, how am I going to do that? Like, I know nobody. And so I got this job at the tanning salon. I make $7.75 an hour. It's not worth, it is worth the money actually for me because I'm getting out and I'm meeting people and the same people that come there. And like now I'm starting to have conversations with people and like building those relationships. And it's been like the best thing ever. And like, I'm just like, it's kind of funny because the owner of the salon actually used to be an It Works distributor, but she doesn't sell anymore. And she's never really there. I've actually only met her one time in the last month and 2 months. But it's just like, I feel like I kind of got my foot in the door and I'm like talking to people and like even like my other coworkers are asking me about it. But like one thing that when I was getting trained in, like people enter the door and I'm like, hey, how are you? Like, so glad you came to see me today. Like, it's not busy because it's not a very busy salon. And one of my coworkers that was training me said, wow, no newbies ever talk to anybody that come in the door. And I'm like, well, you want them to feel welcomed and you want them to come in here. Like, why wouldn't I talk to them? So like just acknowledging someone's presence by saying hi is huge. So can you hear me? Because I can't hear you.
Yes, that is
okay.
That is spot on. You're right. You're exactly right. Yeah, people want to feel like, oh my gosh, they just like totally welcomed me in here. I feel special. You know what I mean? That's exactly what that is. That is exactly what that is. And so on page 46, it says, help people take control of their fears and replace them with faith. So speak life into people. If a person's talking down, be like, no, you are amazing. You are like, if they're talking about their kids and they're having a hard time, no, you are an awesome mom. You're a caring, loving, point out some things that they are. And we're always told to speak not as things are, but as you want them to be. Not only in your own life, but in other people's life. If you want an awesome husband, speak those things out to him. Honey, I absolutely love how you come home and you wrap your arms around me, or, whatever that is that you want to see more of in your marriage. Speak it out in your kids, in wherever, in your business. speak it out. Speak, as if it is, even though it's not quite there yet. So that's awesome. I love that. Okay, let's move into leadership is recovery. So get a grip. Oh man, guys, did this not speak to you guys? It spoke to me. Oh, quicker recovery. So it's all about when you get knocked down, don't stay there. Like I have done that so often. Somebody says something, then I fall off and John has to talk me off the cliff for like 4 days. And he's like, can we be done with this? Can we get over this? Let's get past this. So, and I know somebody on stage at an It Works convention said about getting over the bumps as quickly as possible, rolling across them. And that's a huge part of leadership. It is recovery. You must get over those things like super, super fast. The quicker you can recover from things, the better leader that you're going to be, the more successful leader that you're going to be. Does this like ring anybody's like bell? Like seriously? Yeah. And it's crazy. It can keep you down and it can hold you back from where you want to go because of just, oh, somebody said this, or they didn't like what I did, or they quit being a little customer, or they didn't, I just had somebody that became a distributor, wanted to move down to a little customer total issue. She got very mad and upset and she said, forget it. I'm done. There was nothing I could do to talk her out of that, to try to keep her in the business in some way. And I just had to let go. Okay. Like shake it off. It's okay. It's all going to be good.
I don't have, I can shake off someone saying hey, I don't want to be a loyal customer, or, you're so close to sealing the deal with the DT and they decide not to do it. Like that, I can move on and get over quickly. But where I struggle as a leader is when I have a teammate that's struggling and can't get over whatever's happening, and emotionally, hopefully it gets better. But I couldn't handle that because I can't handle, I don't know, that just made me really uncomfortable. And you can only say okay, we got to move on and what's going on, and it got to the point I just wanted to avoid those conversations, and that's where I lacked in leadership, because I'm I just, right now at the time in my life, I can't deal with that. That's where I struggle.
Well, Lexi, I can totally relate. And so what I do, because I already have a lot of emotional baggage myself, truly, I'm already a mess a lot of days, just getting through my own struggles, insecurities, whatever. So I pray with the person. You know what I mean? If they're calling me, I'm like, let's just pray right now. We're just going to pray through that, because you know what? There's nothing you can do for that person. They have to go through their struggle. They have to go through it. And there's nothing that I can do to alleviate that. The only thing that we can do is we can pray together about it. You know what I mean? And you can just say, I'm praying for you. You know what I mean? I'm praying for you. Or why don't you pray about that? Instead of let's not talk about it. Let's just pray about it. You know what I mean? So that might be a helper for you as you keep building, keep moving on in your business and building your team.
Yeah, because another thing is just that disappointment that their business isn't what they thought it was going to be, and obviously they didn't put the work in it, so they're not going to you get what you put in it or into it, but it's then they bring it back on you and you're sorry.
Well, you know what? This is a great point too. This is a great point, because as we're building into 2017 and everything, the thing I love to say, and I've learned this too, is I just truly tell people, if you're successful, like Eric Worre says, if you're successful in this business, it's because of you. And if you are not successful in this business, it's because of you. I just lay it out right from the beginning that, exactly like you said, what you put into this business is what you're going to get out. I'm here to coach, guide, and train you. And, but it is really up to what you do for your business every day. That allows you to take off the weight, the burden, any whatever excuse that somebody might throw on you, and you right away set it straight with them. And then you continually remind them, if this is your business, this is what you do for your business. And you're going to help them. You're going to coach them through hard times and remind them of their why and all those kinds of things. But at the end of the day, again, it's that shaking, when you just shake it off. If they just say, you know what? Because I love when Kim says people are here for a reason or a season or a lifetime. Just keep reminding yourself of that. People are here for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
I just look back and I wonder how, things were so different when we started, Liz. And I'll admit, like, I wanted it so much more for everyone else than they wanted it for themselves. Like, and how I got to Diamond, I have no idea, because back then we didn't do any play. I mean, we placed DTs, but we didn't place loyals or volume hardly at all. Like, we didn't do any of that, and somehow we managed to get there fast. You know, like, it just amazes me. And it's like, you live and you learn, and, you know, now it's like we do things differently, and I don't want just anybody on my team. Like, I'm over that. That's what, like, it scares me to start building again. Like, obviously, part of the steps to success, and you keep working towards that. But, like, right now, like, I just want to focus on, like, helping people. Like, that's how I got started, and I just want, like, that's what I'm focusing on. And naturally, the team thing happens. Like, when you care about people, then they want to be part of it, and it just kind of snowballs.
Yeah, I'd rather be desperate, rather be more like, let's have a conversation about this. Let's have a true conversation. Why is it that you want to be a distributor? So I love it. We learn so much. We just get to be so much more wise, and we have gray hairs to show it too.
Yeah. I think I still have a zit scar from when I went Diamond on my chin.
Hilarious. I love it. Okay, so let's move into, let's see, we got quicker recovery. And then he said he gave the acronym GRIP. G is for get ready to recover daily. Don't let failure take you by surprise. Prepare yourself mentally by allowing external circumstances to control your internal commitment. R, respond. Don't react. Relax and use your reasoning skills. These are so much easier said than done, but they're great things to remember. I, initiate an immediate positive attitude. Recognize something is good to come from this challenge. And then P, prepare. During my time in the Navy, I was a spy. It was my task to locate and listen to the enemy as they sent out intelligence messages. What did he say with this one? Do not let tomorrow's challenges and negative attacks control you. So basically, have a plan. You know, have a plan. Just don't let, and it's true, it's so good. Kim is so good at this. That's why it's so good to go to your upline, you know, people that have been in for a while, because they're going to give you good sound advice most of the time. You know, Kim's always been really good that way, just to like, okay, Liz, let's think long term. Let's not think of right now. Let's think of, you know, if they're not meant to be here, were they really good for the team anyways? You know, was it a good fit for them anyways? Is it a blessing that they're not here anymore, even though financially that might cause a little bit of repercussion, you know, those kinds of things. Okay. Leaders create the environment. Anybody have anything with that? I don't want to be the only one talking. Like Sarah, let's see, Tessie, do you have anything for leaders create the environment? Anything underlined?
I just know that a lot of times my mom, she'll be like, what, this is happening. Don't you watch the news? And I'm like, no, I don't. And that's something I've always kind of done, just because I always feel like crappy when I watch the news, because it's always just negative. So I really relate to this, where it talks about, you know, you will become toxic yourself, and you have to make sure that you're not letting, you know, the bad things in. So just even earlier today, I was in the car and I was just kind of switching through the radio stations, and all of a sudden something bad comes on. I'm like, nope, not even going to listen to it, because it's going to make me feel sad. Like, there's absolutely nothing good that's going to come from it by me listening to that. But then I know that, like, when it says that when you're leading an organization or even a team, you know, you have to help them, because most people aren't going to think. It's not a natural thing to block out the negative. We are in a constant negative world, and so you're just used to that negative environment. And so we have to help, you know, create that positive environment for the people, and kind of going along with what you guys have been talking about, and just speaking life into them, or just speaking positive things into other people. So you actually, you know, you want your team to be a certain way, and you're going to have that positive environment for them to grow in.
Oh, I love that. And isn't it awesome that Mark Pentecost, he so very much says one team, one mission. We don't compete against each other. We complete one another. We're better together. We #reverse gossip. You know, we go on, he just asked us this Sunday night to go on 3 people's pages, and it didn't matter if it was It Works people or not, and just edify them, you know, say some great things and encourage them. So we already have that awesome leadership from the top down, teaching us those ways. And then we just have to create that culture, continue that culture in our own teams. And as leaders, we also have to be strong enough to have those crucial conversations and call out when that kind of behavior isn't happening in our team. And that's the hardest thing to do sometimes. You just have to say, you know what, because you don't know how that person is going to lash out, but that you have to call it out and say, if you can't stop being this way, I'm going to have to remove you from this page. You won't be welcome here because this is not what we're about. So, and that's kind of like when he says, not in my house. It's also not in your car, like you said, Tessie. It's not in your home. It's you create that environment. You create that culture. And
I think this is important just in life in general. I'd have that conversation with my mother-in-law today. Was not a good one.
Yeah, sometimes people wonder, did you hear about that one story, how the guy's like, something stinks, like the grandkids put like something underneath his nose? What book was that from? We were reading it from somewhere. Cindy, I know you and I were chatting about it, but he kept, like, he got up and he's like, man, something really smells. Like, and then he moved into the kitchen. He's like, man, it smells in here too. And like, he goes outside, he's like, it smells outside. And the whole point was, you are creating your own stink, you know? And so that's what you're talking about, Lexi. It's good.
Yep. And I'm over it.
Yes, totally. Okay, so it goes through all the numbered things, you know, how you can, you know, meet with key leaders a minimum of twice a year in a fun location. You can create a conference. You can create company ensign. You can have a, you know, an email. Some of this is older stuff. We're in such higher technology today. Fireside chats with your people. Make sure you listen more than you talk. And here I'm talking too much.
Well, this right here is kind of, you had mentioned it earlier. You said that, you know, when people you lead feel you are no longer listening to them, they move to a belief that they're no longer offer value. So I know that was already mentioned earlier, but it's just kind of like when you don't feel like you have something to contribute, then, you know, that's something that they kind of lose that passion and they just kind of go through the motions. I've seen that with other jobs, you know, before. I've been there with other jobs before.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Again, where people are too much focused on the money and the bottom dollar and not focused on the people, you know, the blessing of having the people that are there. Okay.
I like, Liz, where it goes the other way too. As leaders, we can't change people, but we can create an environment that allows them to grow. So you can create all these things. You can, like, bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. You know, so sometimes that happens, but we can give them all the things that they need to do to plug into and all that kind of stuff, just so they have it. But sometimes we have to, like what you said, let them go if they not being positive and won't do anything anyway. And, you know, you're running up the hill, dragging them instead of running with them. Mm-hmm. So that can go that way too.
Yeah, it's so good. Okay, let's see where we at. I'm going to make sure we hit on chapter 3 too. They did talk about belief transfer. Oh man, how important that is as a leader to make sure that you transfer the belief into people. Man, I don't know how many times Cammie said that. You got to, like, you know, you just feel the presence of Cammie when she's with you. You feel like you're $1,000,000. Like, she just makes you feel just so awesome. And that's the same kind of culture that you want, or that same feeling that you want to create with your team around you, that they just want to be around you because you just make them feel so awesome about themselves. They totally feel like they can conquer the world in your presence. You believe so wholeheartedly in them. And that's where you believe for them before they believe for themselves. And of course, some never believe for themselves. And that's where you have to realize that sometimes as a leader, like, it's just, I want it for them, like Lexi was saying, but they don't want it for themselves. And at some point you got to just realize they're here, and when they're ready, if they are ever ready or when they ever do get ready, I'm here for them. You know what I mean? And that's the hard part for us as leaders, to just let that kind of be.
So my question is, like with Cammie, what is it that she does or says that makes her so good at that? And the second part of that is, if you have your own insecurities, your own lack of belief, how do you transfer that to somebody else? Like, how do you transfer belief into someone else if you're already struggling with that yourself? It's like you're almost lying, and
Self-development.
Yeah,
well, I know, but I do a lot of self-development, and I still, like, there are days when I really struggle and days when I'm, feeling good, because I have to get better at those 3 steps of the recovery. I gotta get better at that. But I was just wondering, like, what is it, I guess, that Cammie does that makes her, like, what are some examples of what she does that makes you feel so special? Because she really does, but I'm just, like, asking for, I don't know, have we all been in her presence? I don't know. Like, what are some things that you guys notice that she does?
So I notice she's all there and present when you're chatting with her. When she's spending time with you, she's not, not looking at somebody else or distracted by something else. She is fully focused on you. You are the spotlight in her life at that moment. And then she always speaks life. It's so good to see you. Big hug, big kiss. How have you been doing, Liz? How's life going? How's John doing? What's your goal for today? Like just that boxer message she sends me often. What are you doing today? And what's your goal for this week? I've been thinking about you, things like that. But just with her, she's got such an energy. She's got such an energy of just total excited to see you, humble as can be. You never think that it's about her. You always think it's about you when you're around her. So she has a way to do that. And I know she struggles mindset, because I've had her actually message me and say, please pray for me. I'm having a very tough time right now, as she was going through a divorce with her husband. So different things that she has been through. Her dad's, obviously gone through cancer, and she struggles, but she digs so deep into scripture. She's a super, super strong Christian too. So she digs into scripture when she's having a very, very, very tough time, to find out, what does God say about me? What does God say about me? He says he's a full healer. He loves you. You're forgiven. When you really start, she goes back and forth. And if she's anything like her mom at the I Get To conference has all these like verses written out on cards that she like prays over herself and over certain people throughout the day. So when you're immersed in God's word and what he says about how you are a dearly loved child, forgiven, and when you really encompass what God came to do for you, Sarah, for every single one of us, you can't but ooze out love everywhere around you when you realize how much he loved you, that God didn't just leave you. He sent his son, and he had a plan to save you. And you were that, you meant that much to him. You know what I mean? That he would do that for you. So I think when you constantly speak God's promises over your life, I think that you just get a God confidence about you. And I would say, if I was going to explain Cammie, I would say that she continually immerses herself with God's promises, and she remembers who she is, and that's how she carries on every day. So that's what I would say.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, otherwise, what do you guys think? I mean, you guys have been around her too.
I think she's just like a big connector, and she's, like you said, she's really down to earth, and she's present with you. And when you're talking with her, you don't feel like a black diamond, like untouchable. She's really
totally opposite. You're like, oh my goodness. Well, think of Jesus, Sarah. Like, Cammie reminds me of Jesus. Like, when you think of a king, he wasn't a king. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't come in a crown and sit on a throne. He walked among the people. He healed people. He loved people. He sat with the what people would call the biggest sinners in the world. He ate at their houses, washed the disciples' feet. You know what I mean? Like he was the opposite of what you'd think of when you think of a king. You know what I mean? He was born in a barn, in a manger. You know what I mean? Think about all those things. So the humblest of humblest of humblest. So that's what I would say Cami is a humble, grateful spirit.
And when you pour into other people, it sometimes pours back through you again. You feel better about yourself. You feel all those things that you're telling them. That I think that works like that too.
The boomerang, right?
You get what you give, kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely. So Sarah, believe those things. Maybe every day for you, we all have to do that. We all have to do that. We have to remember, because we're sinful by nature. We go back to, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of this. You know what I mean? We always go back to those sinful thoughts. And so we have to always fill ourselves up every single day. And so how do you pour out to others? I think like what Cindy said, as you constantly practice pouring out on others, all of a sudden you're going to start thinking differently yourself, because how you're speaking life over others. I truly think it's going to organically happen. It's not going to be easy in the beginning. It's going to be uncomfortable. Like I have to physically I'm not by nature an encourager. I've learned to become an encourager. I know some of you say, what are you talking about? But I wasn't always that way. You know what I mean? I wasn't always that way. It's been a long time in learning to encourage. And by encouraging, I'm filled up. I'm encouraged. So I love it. Okay, so page 53 talks about the belief transfer. Those are so good, those 1 through 6. Make sure you guys look at that on page 53. I'm sure you did when you read. But the family unit, it talks about, that family unit of, those that you are leading. Can they trust you? Do they believe that you are honest and that you work with integrity? Do they understand how much you care about their success, both at work and at home? Do you show them compassionate care? Do they also see you as a friend besides just a leader? This is all so good. 55, leadership must feel stability. They must sense that you have a handle on the future and that you are strong when tough decisions must be made. And you must continually send the message that the future is bright. So Sarah, you guys have seen me in moments where I'm like crying, like, it's going to be okay. We're going to be fine. You know what I mean? Like there's times when I'm of course wavering, but I'm believing and I'm still speaking it out, that God is with us, that he's taking care of us, that he's got this. So it's not about perfection. It's not about, as a leader, it's not about perfection. It's actually just like being in there with your people and going through it with them, going through the hard times, the good times, all of it together, doing life together, not being untouchable. Like you guys said with Cami, she's not untouchable. Okay, what else, guys? Should we go right into Discovering Leaders, chapter 3? Am I going in and out? I'm good tonight? Yay. Usually it goes in and out, so it's good. Let's go right into Discovering Leaders, Finding Diamonds in the Coal. What do you guys have underlined for that? Didn't you love when it said, how do you find your leaders? Like Lexi, we just were talking about this. I don't know if I want to build a team. It says right here, page 58, the first paragraph. I do not believe we can actually discover leaders. I have found that leaders will discover us if we create the correct example and support system. If we set up a system that promotes people by their achievement and ability to help others achieve, leaders will be found. Leaders love to be around other leaders. They covet a relationship with people who know where they are headed and have a plan for how to get to their destination. So where can potential leaders be found? How do we recognize a potential leader? Did you love how he said he was kind of came in to help the new girl that they were going to hire on? That's where this goes into that. And she was not what the whoever the leader thought. They're like, well, she's not going to be any good. And Bob Goshen thought differently. Let's see, I got to remember. I know he said that focus on the people again. Many thousands who will depart their organizations this year because of a failure to understand the significance of the person rather than the plan. Because people don't hang signs around their necks like I'm a leader and these are my qualities. So we who are leaders must look for invisible signs. So then he completely lists out what characteristics you should look for. So this is perfect. Loyalty. Those have been loyal for years. All of you are completely loyal. You have not just stopped and given up when times got tough. That is encouraging to me as a leader. That says all of you guys have grit, you have determination, you have vision, you know that life is not going to be like, just straight up and perfect, and that you're going to learn some things along the way. You have self-governance. You give them a project, they'll get it done, but they'll also add additional value. And how are you going to see that? By a leader giving people different things to do. You're going to see that. You know what I mean? When people hand those duties over for them to do it. And I know Kim often talks about that reliable leader. You know what I mean? Belief in their ability to perform. Play well with others in the sandbox. Oh man, have we seen those that have not played well together in the sandbox that you felt they needed a spanking like a child would? You know what I mean? I definitely have been down that road, and John has said too, man, they just need a good spanking. Hunger to learn. I mean, these are great characteristics. If you're looking for how do I find a leader? That's a good indicator, right? But the problem for most companies on 61, the second full paragraph, it says, is that layers of bureaucratic people who are not leaders have been placed in positions of leadership. They are often overlooked the person I have described. Or a worse scenario exists. The potential leader is seen as a threat to their immediate manager or supervisor, and therefore their name never comes up for advancement. Anybody have anything to say about that? As we move into 62, 63, all that jazz. How'd you love the questionnaire that you can give to employees? So you give them, like, if I gave you guys all this to tell me how I do, put me on the butcher block. Do I give you freedom to accomplish your goals? Do I allow you to participate in decision-making process? Do I teach as opposed to giving orders? Do I listen? You know what I mean? Like, these are great indicators to ask your employees, what do you think? Like, how am I doing? I need some feedback. Because really, people just want to be able to say what they, not even that they want their way, they just want to be able to say how they feel. You know what I mean? So that's a really cool evaluation. And then it talks about on 64, let's see. When the evaluations are scored, critical strengths and weaknesses are revealed in the manager or supervisor's leadership ability. The questions all relate to the following characteristics. So these are great things as leaders that you can say, okay, do I do that well? Do I conduct meetings? Do I affirm performance? Do I reduce the status barrier? I mean, it's just awesome. Good indicators there. And it says as leaders, we must ask ourselves daily, do we shine in all 8 characteristics? Anybody have anything to say about any of that? You guys are all so quiet. We're almost done. So like another page and a half.
Yeah, I think that's a little scary sometimes to look at all those. But it is good to keep you in check with what you're, if you're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have to agree with Cindy. It's a list that looks daunting, but it's not necessarily a bad list. Just, I think for me, I see it as 8 more things on my list of things that I already have to do. But it is a good, quick, reference of even just as different situations, come about, going through and saying, okay, how did I handle this? And just, basically evaluating yourself as you go.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be business, personal, whatever. So
when you really dig into them, Sarah, though, you already do some of those things already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know exactly. For me, I see the numbers and I'm like, oh gosh, I have to get past that initial, like, okay, that's 8 more things I need to accept.
Right.
I got a lot on my plate. I feel very overwhelmed lately. It's probably because of Christmas.
There is a lot going on. I agree. Okay, and then again, it just really went back to, again, the organization or corporation that will put its focus on people over profits and projects will sustain a much longer life. So really, again, remembering people. Focus on people. Okay, what about a leadership lesson from a master? This presidential yacht in Washington, D.C. with a fellow committee member, Bill Marriott. He wanted to ask him what the secret to his success in finding the best general managers for his hotels. So I think we talked about this earlier. But he said, when I visit each hotel, I get the general manager and take him or her to the heart of the house. I love that, the heart of the house. This term is used to describe the center of all activity, housekeeping, bookkeeping, reservations, and all other key departments in the hotel. It is the focal point or nerve center of the hotel. As I walk with the general manager, I take careful notice of how he or she is greeted. If the staff walks up with a smile, looking forward to seeing the manager, this is a great sign. If, on the other hand, I see no smile and very little eye contact, I am certain we have a potential challenge. Isn't that so awesome to think of that?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at the very, very ending, what it says here. Oh, here it is. The manager answered with a story because he said, can you see the continuation of Bill Marriott and his leadership principles being carried out by your management staff here in Budapest since he's thousands of miles from this hotel? The manager answered with a story relevant to Hungary. When you go to the fish market to buy a fish, you should always smell the head. If the head stinks, the entire fish is bad. So it is in leadership. If the head of the company or organization smells, it is likely the entire company or organization is dead. Every corporation needs a heart of the house, a place where leaders can meet with those they lead to inspire, encourage, and mentor. Isn't it awesome?
Well, I know, like, even just from working at different places, like, when you have a boss who's really negative, and, almost everybody there is going to be negative. And then at the school that I work at, the vice principal, every single day he walks by, even the staff or the kids, he's always very nice to them. And he's always like high-fiving everybody. And now I just walk right past him or I hear his voice and I automatically like put up my hand, like high five, like he knows, and I know that that's what he does. And it's just this encouraging thing because he does that both to the staff and the students. And it's just like that extra little motivation, like, I'm here, I am appreciative that you're here, type thing. And he's a really positive person to work with. So I've seen that firsthand, just like when you say like the head stinks, like when that head person is a negative person, not many people want to be with that person or especially work for them.
That's a great, yeah, and you can see it. You can totally see when people have a magical, team or a magical corporation going on. You can see the dysfunction in ones that don't work and why they fall apart, why people leave organizations, corporations, whatever. And then, you hear of these others that are so that they just treat their people like gold. They take care of their people. And people don't want to leave. They love it. They feel, even if they're not even making top dollar, they want to be there because they feel encouraged. They feel uplifted. It's a positive environment. It helps them be better, feel better about themselves. So we have to take that. We have to say that for our own team. You know what I mean? And what a company, what a CEO and his wife that they do all of these things, and we are just a part of that. We're like a wing or a leg off of that. So it's so cool that we have such amazing culture. So what do you think? What are your biggest takeaways from these two chapters, chapters 2 and chapter 3? So creating a leadership environment and discovering leaders. What are your biggest, say 1 or 2 things? Let's start with you, Lexi. Sorry to call you out, babe.
Sorry, I had noise. The biggest takeaway? Well, this is just something that I think about randomly, and not to toot my own horn, but I think that this is really good because I have questioned from day one, am I a leader? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I helping my team? Am I made out for this? Am I a leader? And just reading this book, and I think about, this tanning salon that I work at is literally, I think there's 7 employees. It's super small, and I work there 1 day a week, not a lot at all. And one of the main reasons they wanted to hire me is because I had my crap together. Because I have a job, I can tell my future, I'm getting married, I'm stable, I'm here, because everyone there is 27, 28, and their lives are a mess. And I'm you guys make me feel really good about myself. But on Friday night, we have a group thread because we're so small, and I text them, and it was my second night by myself. And I had 11 tanners, which was one of the busiest nights. And I had $250 in sales, which is the most I'd ever seen in the 2 months that I've been there in one night. And I text the group and I said, because it doesn't take much to excite me, I just have to share this. I had 11 tanners tonight, and there was a blizzard out, and I had $250 in sales, and the dryer's working because we got a new dryer. And I got back oh, I love your positivity, and you're so positive. And I get told that from my supervisors at every job I've ever been at is you're a breath of fresh air. And it's kind of oh, thank you. You don't really believe it yourself. And so just reading this book and talking about it and listening to you guys just kind of reinforces that I am a leader, if that makes sense. So I don't know. That's just kind of my take on it so far.
Well, what I was going to say, Lexi, is, I keep going back to John Maxwell, where he says leadership is not a position or a title. It's influence. Mm-hmm. And we know that leadership actually can be negative influence or it can be positive influence, because we can influence either way. And you are absolutely, you've always had a strong, people always look to you. They always where's Lexi? They always look up to you, and you are very, very influential. Even though you've been kind of quieter, you're still, people are looking for you. What would Lexi do in this situation? Mm-hmm. You have a very influential aura about you. So,
well, thank you.
So it does not surprise me one bit that the crew loves you. Okay, what about you, Sarah?
There you cut out. Okay, so my things, a quicker recovery. That's something that I really liked that, and it spoke to me a lot because I do get caught up in just in different things. I take a lot of things to heart. And so it just takes a lot to get back on my feet. And I'm really hard on myself. I'm a lot harder on myself than what I need to be. And then actually it's something, well, there's a couple of them, but one thing that you said is, this is not working. So if you get invited to do something, go and do it, where a lot of times I will avoid doing that, one, because I like being at home, and two, I forget that, like I look at it as I could spend that hour messaging however many people versus, like I just don't think about it as relationship building, and I don't necessarily know why. I suppose a lot of times it's because it's fun stuff with, it's like moms that want to do stuff, for a play date. And, I forget that, that is relationship building, not just a play date for my kid. And so it was just really good advice. It was a good tip. So, yeah. And then as far as with the book, the other thing was, oh crud, where is it? Oh, just the belief transfer, the steps as far as that goes, because there's some things in there that I feel I'm really good at and other things that I'm not. And there's definitely some stuff, like you said, speak it out. So speak it the way you want it to be. And that's something I have to do for myself, for my family, and for my business. So.
That's so good, Sarah. Seriously, like I said, the first time I ever met you, you spoke so much life into me. Like I was in tears when I went to the car. I mean, that's you are very good at that. You have a gift to really pull out people's talents and gifts and speak it out. So I think do more of that, and in that you'll start pulling your own out and seeing yourself differently as you see other people's faces light up and you taking the time to relationship build. Because I can't just say it enough. Like we think that it's all about the mad race, but it's really not. Networking is about just slowing down and relationship building, giving yourself an excuse to say, I'm going to go have fun, because in this having fun is when I'm really, truly relationship building. I'm really getting to know people and love on people and get to know people. So
well,
good.
I think that's hard when you see other people working so hard. Like I messaged, 50 people today, and then I'm sitting here going, well, I had 5 really good conversations, so there's that, that part of it that's hard. And thank you for your kind words. I wish I was better with it with my family. I'm a lot better with the people that are not in my family as far as speaking like they're whatever, recognizing good things.
So start with your family, because your family is your first ministry. Your family is your first ministry. Those are the people who God has given to you. So speak life over them first. And that's what I'm working on with our own family. I know that this is a journey that God has put. I mean, we're homeschooling together. Oh my goodness. We couldn't be more in each other's faces and in each other's armpits and in each other's whatevers. And God is showing us, your ministry is your family first. Because from there, that spreads out. Those kids will do, and your greatest treasure is your husband and your children besides your Lord. They're your greatest treasure. So you want them in heaven before anybody else. So just speak life over them. I love it. Okay, Tessie.
Okay, well, Sarah took the ones that I was going to say, especially that belief in others' part. That's probably the reason why I'd signed up with you, is because, I just could hear all the positive energy that you had spoken to, me. Like I saw on Facebook the other day, and the very first things that Liz had said to me on Facebook was, you have a beautiful soul. And Facebook was like, on this day, you and Liz became friends, blah, blah, blah. And that was the things that she said. So I know that is huge. I've seen that when I have said certain things to my kids, and then when you believe in them, then, like, even if they don't know that they can do it, like this last week, my youngest Shiva was in a play, and right before the play started, not the play itself, but before she started practicing, she's like, I don't know that I can do it. I don't think that I can be in front of that many people. But when you just say, no, you'll be fine, you can totally do this, something so simple, just pretend like you're playing at home, and then every single day, after play practice, she'd be like, oh, it's so much fun. So, it's just, I think that when we are leading, then we'll know what especially if you have kids, you'll know exactly how you are leading others by how they react to it, because they pick up on things even if you don't realize what you're teaching them. So that belief in others is huge. I'll see if I can try to find something else that's not the same. I kind of like that list, that questionnaire list. It also, not just from a leader perspective, but when you're trying to surround yourself with positive, influential people and just having good friendships with people, I think that this is kind of a good list to just kind of go by, because I know that I've had some friends that I've had for a long time, but they're not necessarily the most positive people. And so I've only let myself be with them for minimal time, just because I know that I don't want to fall into that negativity. And so this is kind of a good list. It's just kind of, when you're thinking about creating new friendships, see if they're kind of doing that thing. Like, do they listen to you, or do they just tell you about their life? Or, are they always letting you speak to what you want to say? Is there balance between the two of you and things like that? So I kind of like those. It's just kind of really good life lessons in general. So that's about all that I have. There was something else too, but I can't remember. Sorry.
Awesome. No, I love that. That's a great idea to look at that for, the questionnaire for friends. That's an awesome thing to think about as well. I've thought about that too, just coming down here and being invited to all these church group things, these church lady group things. And I'm just kind of sit back and have observed what kind of people they all are. And some are more negative. Like you totally become more observant when you are personally developing yourself. And you just kind of go, And then there's ways that you can find to constantly turn it into a positive thing with what they said that was just negative. I find myself like, okay, how can I spin that around so that she can start to realize that I'm constantly putting that into a positive spin because you're constantly talking about negative that way. So I love that. And Tessie, you have been truly, it has been so fun to watch you grow and get to know you better. And, we've had a couple coaching calls together, and just watching you really rise up has been absolutely, seriously so inspiring to me. So I cannot wait. I'm so glad that you're a part of this layered leadership group. That makes me so excited. And I know you are part of the 21 Irrefutable, and you're just so coachable. And I'm just excited to see what God's going to do through you in this 2017 coming up. It's going to be so fun.
Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, Cindy, your turn, girl.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. There is so many nuggets in these two chapters, but everything each one of you said is just amazing. So, but really just always reflects on me is just love on people. And, and helping them. And, I've been going back to this all the time since my uncle passed away this last month. Was at 94, he always says, happiness is helping others, so I've been really, truly trying to just incorporate it, take that and lead it on the rest of my journey, but building self-esteem in people and replacing their fears with faith. I mean, that was my whole journey, the first 1 to 2 years that I've been in this business, and just really good going back to making people feel, good. And I think that's just a big whole part of that what we need, because listening to all of Tessie said about working outside, and so did Lexi, about how negative people are. and how we come back here and how we get filled up and we're so positive and people speak life, that whole speaking life and over your whole family, you know, where it starts there, like you said. I mean, sometimes you got to be reminded of that because you're right. The people that are the closest to you can hurt you the most, you know, and if you don't have that faith and something to fall back on to just pray about them, I think that's where it all starts. Because I know when we have bad days in the house, sometimes that can lead in all different other directions. So I just, that's really what I think, you know, all just speaking life and edifying people. And there's one thing, ordinary people becoming super leaders with belief in them. Like I like that, what that said. So, you know, transferring that belief again. So just so many good stuff. I don't know. It's all good. That's kind of what I just keep going back to.
Oh, that's so good too, Cindy. And I have loved, absolutely loved getting to know you and being able to do a lot of these like personal development journeys together. And it's so fun because we've all grown. Oh my goodness. If you look back to the first book we ever did or the first just being a part of this business together, just look at how much we've learned. Look how much we've grown. Look how much we've stood back, whereas before we couldn't see the full picture. And now you can sit back and look at everything and go, okay, I see this. I see how God's moving things here or there. It's okay. The end of the world is not coming. You know, we're going to go through these shifts. We're going to learn things. We're going to also forgive ourselves for, you know, things we didn't know. Like you learn as you go. Like you truly do, you know, learn along the way. And there are many things I would have done differently, but that's not how it was. And God tells us to look forward and forgive the past and move forward. So it's just so awesome, Cindy, to be able to do this with you too. So I just love it. So
Thank
awesome.
you. I remember being so scared, like, and when I first, I wouldn't even be able to talk on these Zooms unless Kim called me out, you know? So it's been fun to watch how people grow, you know.
Totally.
Cool.
And my biggest takeaway, I would say, is again, just making sure that you're always focusing on the people and not the bottom, what do you guys call it? Bottom line profit. So just constantly, I think that's what I really pulled out of here is just focus on the people. Focus on the people. Just always focus on the people and you'll get the business right when you're focusing on the people. So that was really good. All right, guys, now this is the crazy thing. So, okay, again, in my creating and continually relationship building and my networking, the youth pastor asked John and I if we would be a host house for a growth group. The church is having 26 growth groups. And so the youth pastor said, hey, would you want to team up with my wife and I? We're going to be doing the Financial Peace University by Dave Ramsey, the 9-week course. And he said, can we do it at your house? And he's going to teach it. And he wants, the only night that would work was Tuesdays. So then I'm like, okay. And it starts January 24th. So then I'm like, okay, let me look at my book club that we're doing right now with my leaders and see if I can't get that finished before we start the Financial Peace University. So as I looked in the front to see what we had left for chapters, we're going to have to do 3 chapters then for the next time we meet. And then we're going to have to do 3 chapters for the last time that we meet. So if you guys are cool with that, that is kind of cramming a lot in. It kind of is because you saw how we had so much to talk about just with 2 chapters tonight. Now we're going to do 3. So actually we're going to do 4, 5, and 6 for January 3rd will be the next time that we meet. Does that sound right? Because it's every other Tuesday. And then January 17th, we'll do chapters 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so basically you're going to do 3, 4. Awesome, Tessie, you've done it. Good. I've never done it, so I can't wait to do this. It couldn't come at a better time. I know that too. And again, all these people are going to be coming in our house, and I'm going to get to know, like I'm going to learn financial skills, grow in my faith, and get to know all these people. And I might think to myself, well, I'm too busy for that. Well, no, the heck I'm not. I'm not too busy to relationship build, to learn financial skills, get better about my finances so I can be intentional about that. What the heck? I have time for that. So so that's why I'm like, we can get it all worked out. Does that sound good? 4, 5, and 6 for next time? January 6th or January 3rd? Can you believe that'll be the new year? It'll be 2017 when we meet next. That means I better have my vision board done, my game plan ready, my one word. I got my one word. Everybody have their one word?
I think so. It was weird. It came in a dream. So,
Are you sharing or not?
well, that's when I seem to have the most things happen is in my dreams. So, like the word, little tiny word, truth came up because I had prayed right before I went to bed. And I said, okay, God, I need a word for this year. And it's crazy. So, and whatever. So in the middle of the night, I'm dreaming and this small word truth came up and I'm like, truth? Is that the word? And then this bigger word came into bold, trust. So I'm thinking that it might be trust. So I don't know. That's so, and
That's a big one. That was my word for last year and we moved across the country.
So, and I thought that might have been your word, and I'm like, it can't be trust. Liz is gonna think I'm copying her.
No. They're good. That's a good word. Oh my goodness.
Unless
Walking
something
on the
comes up
water.
in the next, few days or whatever, then I think that's the one I'm gonna have to go with. But
I love it. Everybody else have their word? It'll be a good one.
I'm struggling with mine. At first I thought it was surrender, and then I just journaled about this actually. I was asking for clarification because at first I thought it was surrender, and then I wasn't sure if maybe it was growth, which is another really good one. So I'm actually not really sure because both are really good. Like they're both, yeah. Maybe it's both. Can we have two words?
I've never done two, but not to say that you can't. Wow.
Make up your own word, Sarah.
I think that I'm wondering if maybe there's two for two different reasons. One for a personal thing to focus on and one for a business thing. I do believe that a lot of that ties together, but
surrender is growth. Surrender is growth, though. You know what I mean? Like when
true.
you surrender, you're letting go of your control and you're letting God do his thing. That's growth.
Yeah, no, and that's, I don't know. Like, I think I said in another Zoom, the thing that just kept coming to my head was, just keep swimming, like Tori says, of just, keep going. And I think that's where growth comes into play of like, which is part of what we talked about today, the recovery, getting over it faster and just keep moving and talking and, so I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'll have to pray about it tonight and see if he answers me.
I love it. And don't forget next Monday, we're going to have our vision board making Zoom. So like you should have everything set. Like I'm going to do mine ahead of time so I can like not be making mine while I'm trying to help and interviewing a couple people on their dream boards. But make sure you have your stuff. Like you've already been like, finding images that you're wanting to put on your dream board, ready to stick everything on there with your words. And so, yeah, there's a lot of things to think about like before that point to know. And I'm so glad we're doing it so early that we'll be set for 2017. We'll know our vision and our goals for what we're going to be doing. So how about you, Lexi? You have a word?
Just as we were sitting here, and this was my word, like not last year, but the year before, but I'm going to do strength again. And I found my verse that I found is Romans 8:18. It says, the pain that you've been feeling can't compare to the joy that's coming. And I just, like, this last year has been really painful. So I'm ready for some joy.
Oh. Do you know that Toby Mac song?
What?
That's a Toby Mac song.
Is it?
Yes. Isn't that Toby Mac, guys? About the joy, the strength, or the joy that's coming. I think it's a Toby Mac song. It's a really awesome, that exact verse.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, I gotta look for it. I'm pretty sure it's Toby Mac. It's a really good song. that you have been through a lot, but look at you. Look at you. Look how much you've overcome.
Yeah.
Seriously, look at how much you've overcome, and look how much God has opened your eyes through things, you know, through seeing your own family's upbringing and then being in somebody else's upbringing, and then you're looking at all that. Like, what kind of home do you want to have? You know what I mean? What kind of environment do you want to create between you and your husband and someday your kids? For now, your dog.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
We're working on that, and we're setting some boundaries.
Yeah. And that's why John and I are digging into that Pray Big for Your Marriage book. Like, it's just going to be such an awesome year. I'm like, God, you're just going to do amazing things this year. 2017 is going to be a flipping amazing year. I truly believe it with all my being. It's going to be just like I've heard Kim Touchton say, a year of redemption, a year of restoration, a year of whatever has been taken away is going to be given back tenfold, because this is the year of Jubilee, you know, that every 7 years or whatever. There's just so much to it that I'm just like, I am so excited about what God's going to do this year. And we are so much stronger and wiser and have so much more wisdom, or I said wiser, but you know what I mean? Like, just all those things. I just feel like it's going to be so awesome. Like, it's just going to be, I don't know, moments where you just sit back and you go, God is so working. He is so working. He's always working, but he's so working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. So with that, let's close in prayer. Who wants to close us out in prayer? Lexi, would you?
No.
Are you sure? Who wants to pray? Who is feeling led to pray to close us out?
Not me.
So Lexi doesn't want to do it. How about anybody else? Come on, anybody?
I did it last time. Somebody else do it.
Tessie, do you want to close us out in prayer?
I'm not really too good at this.
Oh, it doesn't matter. God doesn't care. He just likes to hear his people talk to him.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Lord, for having this group of amazing women together. I know that we're growing and learning so much, and help us to continue to grow in the ways that you want us to grow, and help us to impact the lives of others and to become the leaders that we were meant to be, so that we can achieve great things, not only for ourselves and our family, but for other families as well. Amen.
Amen. That was a beautiful prayer.
Awesome. That was awesome.
I love it. And God loves it too. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, there he is with us. So awesome, guys. This has been such an awesome, have I said awesome enough? This has been such a great personal development book to dive back into. Oh my goodness. Second time around, totally different perspective. Totally catching it in different ways that I didn't even catch it at all when I was a diamond at all. So this is really good.
After our last Zoom, Cindy and I were messaging, and I told her that this is probably the first book I'll actually finish.
Hey! No, 2017 is going to be a year that you finish and you finish and you finish everything you start.
Finish strong.
Yes.
So when are we
Go ahead.
When are we doing this again? What date was the date?
It was January 3rd, I believe, is because we're doing every other. Right? Does that sound right, guys?
Yeah, that is right.
Every other. And if we feel like, oh my goodness, there's just way too much to squeeze in, we could do that like in between Tuesday too. You know what I mean? Before we close out on the 17th, if we really feel like, oh my gosh, there's just way too much information to unpack 6 chapters in only 2 times. We could do that middle, whatever that would be between the 3rd and the 17th, that Tuesday. But we do have to close it up on the 17th so that we can be ready to go for the Financial Peace University the following for the next 9 weeks. So, and I would love to Zoom people in. And I'm not saying that once we've gone through it once that maybe John and I won't host one. You know what I mean? For like our team. How cool would that be?
Mm-hmm.
Like get the couples together and like totally do a financial piece. But I feel like I need to go through it one time first.
Yeah.
You know, like it's going to be such a learning thing for the first time around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And some of you guys have already been through it, so you can totally help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you definitely want to go through it at least once before you would teach a class. We just did it, and I would love to do it again. It's it's good, very, very good. It's heavy though. There's a lot of stuff to it.
Good.
A lot more than you'd think.
Good. Does he dive into God's word too? What God's word says about?
Absolutely.
Yay.
Yes.
I love it. I always like to get my hands all dirty and dive into deep stuff. Yay! So our whole church is doing that. How cool is that? The whole church is doing Financial Peace University because he's like, how can we be givers if we don't have any money? We got to figure out how to get our finances in order so we can be givers. So I love it.
That's something Dave Ramsey actually talks about, is having the whole church do it together. That's one of his goals. Or I don't know goals, but that's one of the things he wants to have happen, is having the whole church so that it can be an impact for everybody, not just a couple of people. So that's really awesome.
I'm so excited. And Phil Bischoff, the youth minister guy, they are such a cool couple. I'm like so excited to just meet new people and like get to know, because it's such a big church. It's like over 500 people. So, you have to growth groups to get to know people because there's just so many people. So I'm way excited how God's going to work through John and I, through the Financial Peace University, just help us get more intentional with things and just the people we're going to meet, So yeah, take the time to network. I want to do a Christmas tea. I regret, like back in Minnesota, I should have done a lot more. I was so busy building my business that I regret so many things. Like I've gotten down here and I said, Lord, I pray that you give me just awesome relationships here. And he has done that. He has so given us so many great people that continually invite us to things. And I think to myself, man, when I was back in Minnesota, I should have slowed down some. And I should have done like a Christmas tea and had you ladies over and done a Christmas tea. And, like we did that Pinterest party. I'm like, oh my gosh, it would have been so much fun if we were in Minnesota and had a Pinterest party. And people do fun stuff down here, like vintage shopping. I'm like, you guys are way cool. Like they do a lot of really cool stuff that I was just too busy building my business, So take the time, because in that relationship building, God will bless you, by loving and caring on his people. So, all right. I love you all. Your dog is so cute. Lexi, what's your dog's name again?
Ted.
Ted.
Yep.
Where'd you come up with that name?
I either wanted to name him Frank or Ted, and Jim said Ted. So it was a done deal. If only our kids can be that easy.
Oh, funny. He's gotten big.
Yeah, he's almost 20 pounds.
He's not like a little puppy anymore.
He's still little, but
he's getting pretty big.
Yeah. Well, he's like 19 pounds, 18.4. And when we got him, he was like 3.
Aww. Wow.
But he won't get any bigger than like 25 pounds.
Oh.
He's like a baby.
Aw. My kids still want a dog, but I'm like, then what's going to happen when we go away to like Minnesota and stuff? Like, who's going to watch the dog?
See, he's the perfect size because we can take him like to my family's house and the cabin and stuff like that. Any bigger dog, it's hard to.
Well, our big thing is our families aren't all animal people. Oh, say that again. You were really slow. It was like cutting out.
They are. They aren't. They are. Are they family people or animal people?
They're family people, but not pet. Like my parents don't have animals inside, so that would be a problem. Yeah. And like John's parents would have to be outside. You know what I mean?
Oh.
So that's a bit of an issue. I don't even want a dog. I don't want an animal in my house. That's just how I didn't grow up with animals in my house. So they were always outside, But I'm just weird that way.
This little guy sleeps with us.
Oh my goodness.
He likes to be under the covers, and he like lays like right in between Jim and I's both of our legs, so we're both touching him. He's a snorer.
They're like your
snores so loud. And Jim snores too, and I'm like, you got some competition over here, Jim.
Oh my gosh. Just wait till you have kids, and then they start sleeping in the middle of your bed. You're like, what the heck? I'm going to go sleep on the couch.
Just the other day I told Jim, I said, this dog is going to be so jealous when we have real people around here, little kids around here.
It's true.
He's like our baby.
And they can get naughty too. Just like when you have one child and you have a second and then the one gets really naughty and mean to the baby. I mean, it's just a whole nother, you just don't even know what happens. So you're like, oh my gosh.
We got his little, I can't take credit for this word, but online I read they called him Frenchie Nuggets. His little balls taken out on Monday.
Frenchie Nuggets?
Or
Aww.
last Monday. He got taken out last Monday.
So is Ted considered a Frenchie dog? Like kind of like Cammy's dog?
Yeah, he's a French bulldog. Except Cammy's is like he had a really bad case of worms when we got him.
Aww.
Like he was really, really, really sick.
Aww.
And so I think that stunted his growth. So, but now he's starting to like build out more. Like he's not going to get any bigger. He's just going to get broader and beefier.
Oh. Isn't that so funny? Like Cammy and her dog though too. She's like, Frenchie, 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 Frenchie. And then my videos are like the high pitch, Frenchie, Frenchie, Frenchie. It's so funny.
They're like the best dogs.
Yeah, they are cute. They are really cute.
Well, they have, like, they're so sensitive, and they totally have their emotions and their feelings totally on their face. And if, like, we get down on him too hard because he pees in the house or something, he, like, physically throws up. Because he's like, and then he hides in his kennel, and we're like, okay, we love you, it's okay. And then we're like, but don't pee in the house.
Oh, that's how real children are too.
Yeah.
Aww. Oh
We
my
haven't had any accidents in 3 days, though. Thank God for warm weather.
Aw. Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
I think he's kind of playing you a little bit, Lexi.
Yeah, I think so, too.
Yeah. Well, wait till you have kids and they bring their dogs home. Like I have a grandpuppy that just showed up this week, and he's an Australian Shepherd.
Oh,
And oh my, yeah, he's about 45 or so
Okay.
pounds, 50 maybe. I don't know, but he's very lean and skinny, but he's not. I mean, you know, my dog passed away, and he was 16, so